A very good afternoon, all of you. Welcome to Super Coaching UPSC by Textbook. This is Ventakesh, your faculty for geography. So, in this session, I'm talking about the intensities of increasing tropical cyclones and what would happen in the near future. We'll be discussing that. Can we see a tropical cyclone with wind speeds crossing 300 kilometers per hour, wind speeds crossing 309 kilometers per hour? Have you ever witnessed such kind of wind speeds? We have already witnessed it. It is not like we are witnessing it for the first time. We have already witnessed it, but that trend is going to be the basis of understanding about tropical cyclones in the next decade. Keeping this into considerations, there were calls for having a new category of cyclones, category 6 as per Simpson scale. We'll understand about what is a tropical cyclone, why there is a need for a new category of tropical cyclones, and what would be the future when such kind of tropical cyclones would increase in the near future. Let us understand about all such kind of things. Right. So, am I audible to all of you? Am I audible to you? Let me check. Yes. Okay. That's good. I'm audible to you. Okay. Right. Let me check some kind of comments before I start the session. Let me check the comments as well. Right. Okay. Now, when I talk about tropical cyclones, before we understand the new category of tropical cyclones, let me explain to you what is a tropical cyclone. You all know that tropical cyclones are low pressure systems, right? Low pressure systems formed on the oceans, right? Formed on the oceans. Formed on the oceans. Tropical cyclones will never occur on the land. Please understand this. They would be never occurring on the land. As such kind of tropical cyclones are low pressure systems. They are always associated with some kind of violent, when I talk about tropical cyclone, what are the things which you associate? Can you comment that? Can you comment them, all of you? The moment when I say tropical cyclone, I would say associate with violent gutsy winds, right? I would be associating with severe amount of low pressure area. I would be associating with storm surges. Have you ever heard what is a storm surge? Storm surge. Let me show you this. Normally, when you talk about a tropical cyclone, you always associate tropical cyclone with a wind system like this. Is it not? Gusty winds, winds going beyond a certain range. Imagine the wind speeds are more than 250, 300 kilometers per hour. We are talking about almost speed equal to a Formula 1 car, right? Lewis Hamilton and all would be proud of the winds, only with the winds, but not the destruction, isn't it? So, similarly, cyclones are also associated with coastal flooding. One of the things which we always assume that the coastal flooding is always because of, the cyclones, coastal flooding is always because of the rainfall, excessive rainfall. Not just that, there is something called as a storm surge. You can see here, this is a storm surge. Imagine this is the land. What is happening to the land here? The water of the ocean is entering into the thing. So, when a cyclone, a rapidly rotating low pressure system, which is associated with such kind of faster wind speeds, entering into the land, it is not just entering into the land alone, the wind system alone, it will also push the water which is there into the land. This is what we call the storm surge. Sometimes the surge can be even 6 to 8 meters. 6 to 8 meters, 10 meters level means what? Very near to tsunami, no? Right? See, 6 meters is almost equal to the height of so many people. Right? So, a storm of up to 20 feet, 6 meters, right? 20 meters, 6 feet, 6 meters is huge number. It will be, in fact, taking away the humans as well when it is going back, right? So, a storm surge is also very, very dangerous. So, what we need to understand about the category of cyclones is tropical cyclones are rapid rotating low pressure systems which are associated with so many things. What are they associated? They are associated with gusty winds, huge wind speeds, sometimes even, for example, 63 kilometer per hour. If you cross that, that is called as a tropical cyclone. Until a wind speed of a tropical cyclone is not more than 63 kilometers per hour, in India, we don't call them as a tropical cyclone. Sometimes it will cross even to around 250 kilometers per hour. Of late, even more than 309 kilometers per hour. Kilometers of late. And are we associated only with gusty winds? Not just that. We associate with storm surges up to 20 feet height. And because of the storm surge and the violent rainfall, right? Violent rainfall and storm surge, we do find even coastal flooding. Next time, whenever there is a cyclone which is reported, I think the cyclone's time frame is about to start now again with the March, with the upcoming summer season. By around late April and early May, unfortunately, we would be seeing definitely some cyclones. So, there was then, next time you observe what is the wind speed of that cyclone, observe what is the storm surge, you will get to know so many things, right? So, what are tropical cyclones? For us, you need to understand that they are rapid rotating low pressure systems associated with the disturbances, the disaster disturbances of gusty winds, storm surges, and violent rainfall and storm surges, even leading to coastal flooding. So, coastal flooding, storm surge, wind systems, you need to understand the number, how much they are doing it. Then, I would ask you a question. Why do you think that tropical cyclones are named so? Why they are such kind of weather disturbances are named as cyclones? Can anyone explain me? Anyone? Can anyone explain me? Why do you think that such kind of a tropical cyclone is named so? Let me explain you this. You know, tropical cyclone, as it moves, you can see in this picture, as it is moving like a coils of a snake with the eye at the center, resembling like a snake coil. You can see a snake, you can see coils here, how it is circulating around it. Similarly, a tropical cyclone also resembles the same with the eye here like this. Right? So, such kind of thing is what we call it as tropical cyclone. Okay. Once you have understood this, when you talk about tropical cyclones of the world, you need to understand that tropical cyclones would be having at much different places. Such kind of tropical cyclones, they occur only in certain areas. For example, they occur only in the regions of, say, somewhere here. You can see here, let me draw the equator line. This is the equator line. So, north and south of the equator, tropical cyclones will occur around a certain range. You can see the range here, all of you. The range, you can see the range. Recently, what have you observed is, if you know the names of these cyclones, for example, what do you call them as? We call them here as what? We call them here as hurricanes. Of course, this and this. In the Pacific Ocean, we call them as hurricanes. This is the Pacific Ocean, and even in the Atlantic Ocean along the coast of America. we call them as hurricanes. At the coast of Pacific Ocean in the Chinese side or the Japanese side or the Philippine side, we call them as typhoons. Typhoons. At the Australian side, we call them as willies. And at the Indian side, we know that we call it them as a tropical cyclones. I mean, conceptually, these tropical cyclones are found in the same regions, in these regions, and they are known by the local names there. This is what we know. What we know to understand is, for these tropical cyclones to occur, there are some kind of criterias. There are some kind of criterias. Let me explain each criteria. So the first criteria which we need the criteria which we need for a tropical cyclone, number one, we need large sea surface temperatures of 26.5 degrees Celsius or more. That means the temperatures has to be very, very high. A minimum of 26.5 degrees Celsius is needed. What is the era are we living? Are we not living in the era of global warming? If you are living in the era of global warming, will you find more severe cyclones? Will you find less severe cyclones? Anyone? All of you? Anyone can mention this? If we are living in the era of global warming, will this temperature will increase or will the temperature will be decreasing? You tell me. Tell me, all of you. Will it be increasing or decreasing? Yes, it would be increasing. So you would be seeing that there would be increase in the temperatures because of global warming. If the temperatures are increasing, what will happen to the cyclone? The cyclones would be more frequent, more intensified, more developing. Tomorrow, if the global warming happens because of that, the cyclones would be found beyond certain places. Let me explain this. So, if you talk about this, where do you find large sea surface temperatures of 26.5 degrees Celsius or more? The more you go to the higher versions of the latitudes, you would not find enough temperature. So, because of that, they're always found within the latitudes of, say, what is the latitude they find? Cyclones are found only at the latitudes of, in the tropical region, somewhere around 10 to 30 degrees north and south latitudes. The second reason, Coriolis force is needed. Because, see, what is Coriolis force? Because of the Coriolis force only, there is a rapid rotation and the cyclone attaining such kind of velocities. See, there is a sea surface temperature. There is a difference. Winds will enter into the center, but it is the Coriolis force which will make it to rotate. At the equator, there is no Coriolis force. Because at the equator, there is no Coriolis force, what will happen? You will find thunderstorms there. The atmospheric is disturbed. Low pressure area is formed because of intense heat. The convection is found. Instead of tropical cyclones, you do find there thunderstorms. Whereas in regions beyond the equatorial regions, that is, as you come nearer to the tropical region, say until around 500 kilometers from the equator, you do find that almost Coriolis force is needed. You do find Coriolis force is absorbed, and since there you do find cyclones. Cyclones are never reported at the equator. Another thing, cyclones never reported at equator. If next time there is any cyclone which is reported in and around equator, that means we are living in the new world, not in this world. Scientifically, it cannot happen. at least we need around say 500 kilometers. Say, for example, the distance between one latitude, it is around 111 kilometers, right? So at least we need around 5 degrees of difference from the equator, at least around 500 kilometers to observe this, right? So that is the thing. So when you find such kind of things, tropical cyclones, you never find a tropical cyclones at the equator, or in other words, cyclones are found only at the regions of 10 to 30. Why less than 10 degrees? Usually because of no Coriolis force is absent at the equator. Why not more than 30 degrees? It is because temperatures would be lower. But with global warming, please understand here, what will happen? With global warming, cyclones will be moving towards poles. Geographically, what do you mean by moving towards poles? Not at 90 degrees north, not at 90 degrees south. It means instead of 30 degrees north and south latitudes, you will find at 35, 38, 40. Tomorrow, Britain, which is a temperate region, would be witnessing cyclone. Maybe if not this decade, next decade. That is an indicating of global warming. Europe, which hasn't seen tropical cyclone until now, would be seeing tropical cyclones. The moment they start seeing tropical cyclones, then you can consider that global warming is at its worst, or in other words, is at its peak, right? So that is a indicator. In the future, you do find that with global warming, tropical cyclones will be increasing like anything. There are so many other factors with tropical cyclones to form. For a while, let us understand that this is the only such factor, and let us try to understand. So with these tropical cyclones, every region has a different criteria. Say, according to a Saffir-Simpson hurricane scale in USA, they calculate the strength of a cyclone based on the speed of a cyclone. So there is a scale called Saffir-Simpson hurricane scale. Saffir-Simpson hurricane scale. Now this Saffir-Simpson hurricane scale, what does it do is, it will categorize the cyclones into multiple categories, as you can see. This is observed at the US level. Every region, depending on the ocean basin, in the North Indian Ocean, the Indian Meteorological Department, and with the help of the associated countries here, they will have their own criteria, and different parts of the world will have different criteria. So in USA, you find a scale called Saffir-Simpson scale, and this Saffir-Simpson scale, what have it was observed was, if the wind speed is around 119 to 153 km per hour, you see 119 to 153 kilometers per hour, then they will be regarded as category 1 cyclones, category 1 hurricanes in that part of the world, where the damage is considered as minimal. Tree branches and power lines might be blown down. Damage to mobile phone homes, the mobility of the homes, which are weaker structures, can be impacted, is what we observe. Even a storm surge can be observed up to 4 to 5 feet height. Storm surge, the oceanic water entering into the land, can be observed at the height of 4 to 5 meters. Like that, you have a variety. Category 2, 154 to 177 kilometers per hour. Let's not go to meters per hour because we follow this template. Let's follow this. Then you can see category 3, 178 to 208. You can see the wind speeds in the pictures. You can see here the coconut tree is slowly moving. You can see here the coconut tree is almost disturbed. You can see the coconut tree, not just the coconut tree, even the house is completely under water. Look at the blue color nature, which is indicated by storm surge. The moment you go to category 5, theoretically, when this category Simpson scale was started around in 1970s, right, 1970s, they felt that theoretically beyond category 5, we don't need any kind of understanding. In fact, theoretically, this talks about 252 to 309 kilometers per hour. So, when it is in the category 5, please understand category 5. The storm surge is higher than 18 feet, almost 20 feet of storm surge. Catastrophic in nature, buildings would be destroyed, rooftops would be impacted, structures would be destroyed, all trees and shrubs would be downed. This is as per the US National Hurricane Center. Then, under this category 5, what they have given is, they have given the category of destruction in multiple ways. You can see the people, livestock and pets, what will happen having a high risk of injury. Mobile homes will be completely destroyed. Frame homes will be destroyed with total roof failure and wall collapse. Apartment, shopping centers and industrial buildings, there would be damage to wood roof commercial buildings. So they are talking about the high rise windows. Now all windows will be blown out of high rise buildings. So falling glasses, for example, in USA we do find skyscrapers. So high rise buildings, they are having an impact. You are having a talking about trees, you can talk about power and all. This is all category 5. I think you have understood what is category 5. It is destructive in nature. Now, recently, they are talking about we need to go to category 6. This is the crux of the topic which we are discussing today. Category 6. Why? Because the need for category of 6 is arised because wind speeds about 300 kilometers per hour have been observed because of global warming. The suggestions were found that almost around 5 cyclones which were observed in the last few years, you will find that have been observed beyond category 5 cyclones, right? So that is some exceeding the proposed category 6 threshold. That means beyond 309. There were some cyclones which were reported, and already we have observed this, and the new trends would continue in the future. Future climatic simulations indicate a rise in this extreme. So a new category 6 would always help for the people to enhance the awareness. We need to be aware that the rooftops, the buildings, everything would be destroyed when there is a category 6. And because of this, we need to have a new category is what things which will make it as to be okay. Though we are not vulnerable to these kind of cyclones as of now, but it is a trend which would be increasing even in a country like India, which is in the northern Indian Ocean, that is in the Arabian Sea and Bay of Bengal. We don't find such kind of cyclones yet. But what if you find more than 300 kilometers per hour? In fact, usually, what our observations have told us that that a cyclone, once it is formed, will be dying by around 7 to 10 days. But last year, 2023, there was a cyclone by name Cyclone Freddy, which occurred in the Australian Ocean, and it has gone almost around, it lasted for around 30 to 37 days, moving all the way from Australia to Africa. We have never seen such kind of thing. Imagine a cyclone with its severity moving for around 30 to 37 days. You have observed here. That was not the case until now. Of course, here you do find land, it will die. Landfall will occur, storm surge will occur. But here, a cyclone was able to survive for 30 to 37 days. All these indicate that we are in the worst era of cyclones. We are in the era of such kind of impact. Large scale sea surface temperatures, all these are increasing, and because of that, such kind of things would increase. So what is our lessons? Our lessons are, global warming is increasing. If global warming is increasing, that is leading to increase in sea surface temperature. Because of increase in sea surface temperatures, you do find that because of global warming, there would be cyclones would be observed, would now be observed in the temperate part of the world. That is shift towards pole world. And we have also, because of this, intensities of cyclones and frequency of cyclones would increase. Say, for example, in the past we used to occur 5 cyclones per year. Now it will increase to 7, 8. And say, for example, in the past we used to see a cyclone of category 3, category 4. Now we'll move towards category 5. Such kind of things will be observed. The intensities and strengths would be increasing like anything. In India, you follow this variety. As per the Indian Meteorological Department, this is the template you would be following. What is the template? You would see that a cyclonic storm around 62 to 88. Please remember, in terms of the moment it is 63 kilometers per hour, we'll call it as a cyclone. We'll call it as a cyclone. Then this would increase to severe cyclonic storm, very severe cyclonic storm to 190 to 22, 222 or more. We are calling it a super cyclonic storm as of now. But this criteria classification would change in the future if this kind of templates would continue. So the whole objective of today's session is to have a new category of cyclones where you can talk about more increasing the awareness of the people, increasing the preparedness of the government, the communities, so that we need to always have a re-evaluation of disaster management and have early warning systems, so that always we are under impact of a better things. This is what this article about. I hope you all have understood about it. Recently, some scientists have suggested this. This is the reason why I am discussing this. I hope you have understood. That is about today. If you want the PDF file, you can get this PDF file from my Telegram channel. That's it about today. I hope you have understood this. Until we meet next time, it's a goodbye to all of you. On this topic, I will be preparing some questions which you can answer, which you can participate in the Telegram channel. So they'll be asking questions. What would be the future? How questions can be framed? What is happening? I'll be framing questions on that. You can participate. So until we meet next time, hopefully it's a goodbye to all of you. We'll meet again tomorrow. Happy learnings. Learn well. Thank you.